Right, well, we're back over on the Walco, and I've got some hex bar stock in the 3-jaw, and we're going to face that off to start with. We're going to make the first of the Pert Screws now, so let's get this going. Must use the shaping tool on this the last time I did it. It's quite a curve on the end of the stock. There we go. And I'm going to come in with the centre drill. And just put a little centre in there. Just enough for the tip of the rotating centre. Now I'm going to swap out the centre drill for the rotating centre and move this out of the jaws a little bit so we can turn it down to 1/4 inch, which is the first dimension, which is the pivot dimension. So this is the part of the screw which will go through the conrod, or the well, it will be the conrod in this case. I've got the revolving centre in there supporting the work. And we need, I think it's 0.53 length overall, which includes the shoulder that it's going to go through, the connection rod, and the 1/4 inch that we're going to turn down for the thread. So I'm going to put a little mark at that point so that I know what I've got to turn down up to. Noisy because obviously it's an interrupted cut. Now we're going to turn this down to 0.25. So I'm going to keep going on this, and I'll come back when I'm nearer the diameter. Just out of interest, the way I do this, and there's lots of different ways of doing it, but I use the Myford Boy excellent method of basically you use your digital caliper as a DRO, set it to the dimension you want, which in my case is 0.25, zero it at 0.25, then measure the diameter that you've got on the piece you're turning down, and the measurement that you'll get will be exactly how much you've got to take off. So in this case it is 55 thou. It's a brilliant way of easily getting down to dimension and working out how much you need to actually take off. So we've got to take off 55 thou. It's a 20 thou cut. Another 20 thou. See what we're down to. Right, yeah, so we've got about 10 thou left to take off, so we're nearly there. So according to my caliper, we are down to 1/4 inch. Now I might have to polish this up a bit using some emery to get it to fit. So the first thing we're going to do before we do anything else is remove the revolving centre and grab our conrod and see if it actually goes over. No. Yeah, it's nearly there. Probably a couple of thou maybe. Which I think I'll do that using some emery cloth. It's just because there's very little left to go. We'll take that down to size using some emery. nice. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah, it's still a bit tight. Let's give it a fraction more. Actually, what I'll do now is I'll change over to the 400 grade wet and dry. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so that's that done. So now we've got to turn down 1/4 of an inch off of this end so that I can use a die on that to cut the 832 thread. I've got the revolving centre back in place. Now, I've made a small mark on here on the 1/4 inch mark, so that's what I know how far I've got to turn it down. I'll use the same technique to get the thickness. I've got to take off 83 thou according to my caliper. Not an awful lot at all. So let's get that going. Right, we'll just check that. Should still be a few thou away from final dimension, but we'll give it a check. Quite a few. I was looking at that, I would have thought 832 is quite small. Yeah, I've got another 40 thou to take off yet. I'm now on dimension for this little 1/4 inch bit at the front, which I need to cut the 832 thread for. I'm going to remove the revolving centre now, and I'm going to put my chamfer tool in and just chamfer this edge ready for cutting thread. Now I'm just going to put a little chamfer on there. All helps with the thread cutting. I've changed out the live centre for a small Jacob's chuck, and I've got my tap wrench with the 832 die in it. Tap wrench, my die handle with the 832. And I'm going to do what I normally do when I'm cutting threads on the lathe. Bring that up, apply a little pressure with the tailstock, and just manually cut the thread. And this works really well. The Jacob's chuck and the tailstock keep the die and the die holder square to the work. So I'm going to keep doing that and come back when I'm done it. So there's the 832 thread. Just to tidy it up a bit, I've turned off the end slightly, which is where the centre drill was, and just cleaned that up a little bit. So that is all good. Our conrod is a good fit on the end there. Slight shoulder left, so that obviously when you do the screw up, it doesn't tighten down onto the rod. So we're done. Now all I've got to do is part that off. I shall part it off, leaving a fair chunk for the head, and then I can put this in a collet and turn the head down, make it look nice. So that's one done. I've got to do 2 more now.